I'm Wendy Kopp at Teach for All, and it's my pleasure to share a bit about what we're seeing and learning across the Teach for All network in the face of this pandemic. As you know, more than 90% of the world's children are not in school, and the most marginalized children in countries around the world are the most disadvantaged by this circumstance. They're the least likely to have access to food and clean water and safe spaces and the materials and internet access necessary to ensure ongoing learning. So as we collectively consider what it will take to help this rising generation of young people overcome this setback and ultimately thrive, I think we can gain some inspiration about the path forward from looking at what we're learning across our network today. So the first thing we're seeing is the vital importance of innovative, creative, dedicated, entrepreneurial teachers and educational leaders. This becomes all the more apparent in the face of schools being shut. I was so inspired, for example, to see the Teach for Pakistan teachers lean in so quickly once their schools were shut to make sure that they knew where all their students were, to make sure that all their families were connected to services to access food, to make sure that they knew which of their students had smartphones and which didn't, and then work with their local mosques to, and distribute educational materials to those who didn't have access to a smartphone to stay up with their daily instructional activities. And it's been inspiring to see in countries around the world the network teachers and alumni working to train other teachers and provide access to instructional materials to families far beyond their own students. Seeing all of this has only reinforced my commitment and our collective commitment to making a very intentional effort to cultivating the local teaching capacity and leadership capacity necessary to ensure that all children have access to the education they deserve. The second thing we've seen through this crisis is how much faster local teachers can move when they're connected to each other across borders. We have, for example, hundreds of teachers in Teaching Without Internet learning communities, in WhatsApp groups in different languages. We have communities of teachers focused on how to ensure student well-being in the face of this traumatic experience. We have other groups about how to transition kids to online learning in cases where they do have internet access. And what we hear from all these teachers is that they're better able to meet the needs of their students because of what they're learning from teachers in other countries. The third thing we're seeing, of course, is the importance of working towards a broad and holistic set of outcomes for students so that they gain the agency and skills and values necessary to navigate an uncertain world. It's kind of amazing to see how differently students make access of this time at home, some using the time to express themselves creatively and to read and to study, while others don't utilize the time at all. And of course, this situation has only brought to greater life the fact that the kind of education students need today is one that enables them to adapt to changing circumstances, to be resilient, to develop intrinsic motivation. So what we're seeing is that this pandemic will only magnify the inequities that we're working to address all across the Teach for All network. And we believe that we can come out of this pandemic, though, on a better path to ensuring that all kids have the education they need and deserve if we can, on the one hand, redouble our effort to develop strong local teachers and leaders, if we can build thriving global networks of local teachers and educational leaders so that they can learn from each other across borders, and if we can orient all of our efforts towards a holistic set of outcomes for kids so that they gain the skills and competencies and values necessary to shape a better future, even in the face of great uncertainty. My hope is that we can make a collective commitment to coming out of this pandemic on a trajectory to ensuring that all students have the education and support and opportunity to shape a better future for themselves and all of us. And I hope that some of the lessons we're learning can help illuminate the path towards that end. Thank you so much.